Hey Zane.
Yes, sir.
Did you know American Single Malt Whiskey is on the rise?
I do know that. And I also know that the whiskey community is abuzz with talk about this, well, shall we say, slightly overlooked category of whiskey.
Yeah, because recently has been validated by the TTB back in December that it is America's new whiskey.
So, what are these rules that make it America's new whiskey?
Well, we plan on giving everybody that update and more about why they should be excited about this new American whiskey.
Well, when are we going to do this?
Right after this.
Don't come round and waste my time. A generation of my time. There is nothing we can do. Stop this plague from breaking through.
Welcome to Whiskey Pop. My name is Jeff.
And I'm still Zane.
Yeah, it's good to know. And today we're going to talk about American Single Malt.
Which is an exciting buzzword for American Single Malt.
Because recently it has been given the regulations that are equal to bourbon.
Or Scotch.
That's true too. But we're
not
talking about America. But before we can talk about this amazing whiskey and why you should be jumping in on the bandwagon of trying it,
We have something we need to do first.
and it's try some whiskey.
That's right. And what are we doing today?
We're gonna have some American single malt. It is Clermont Steep. It is a malted barley. It's American single malt whiskey, and it's produced by Jim Beam.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly giggly excited.
Are you really?
I am.
Luckily, this one's easier to open than like the last week's bottle.
Week before last, my God.
Happen as me.
We gonna try this?
Yeah, let's go ahead and try it.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this whiskey, but not today.
Not today.
You know, we're gonna talk about
I
it
need to
next.
talk about what just happened in my mouth.
We're gonna talk about it next week when we do second pour, and
That's
then
right.
we will review it.
And that's when you'll get to know more about this. But
In the meantime, I'm gonna take another drink.
for the first time in 52 years, the United States of America have made a category of an alcoholic beverage.
That's right. Normally, regulations is a bad thing in the United States.
Well, this is a different type
But
of thing.
this is one of those regulations that actually is a nice thing. Now, and you're right, 52 years. It's been 52 years since they've done anything in regulations where alcohol, right?
Right.
Around this.
But the thing is it took it that long.
It did take that, it did take that long.
What took us so long? Oh, you know, master.
So, we need to go to the real experts on this and talk about what really has happened.
Okay.
Before we can talk about what really has happened.
Hey, Jeff,
You saying?
I'm calling you the real experts. Find out exactly what we need to talk about.
You had to say it.
I think we should really take a serious look at what some experts have to say.
Let's do that. Okay, so it says here on the American Single Malt Whiskey's Commission's page, I want to get this correct.
This is a big deal.
For the first time in 52 years, the U.S. government is adding a new type of whiskey to its regulations, American Single Malt Whiskey. On December 18th, 2024, the TTB officially added the new standard of identity to Part 5 of the Code of the Federal Regulations with an effective date of January 19, 2025 that clearly defines the category and protects its producers and their products until Elon Musk canceled it last week.
That's not true, you lying sack of bourbon.
So that's the real deal, right?
That's absolutely
So
true.
it is an official American whiskey. It is regulated just like bourbon is.
So you can't make it in England
No.
or South Africa
Well,
or
it can't be American
any
single
other.
malt.
It won't be American single.
It'll be African single malt.
That's yes.
What are these rules?
Well, I have no idea.
What, you didn't read the notes?
Well, I did read the notes.
Oh, you just want me to look at it.
That's where we were.
I see how this
The
goes.
tit for tat.
Okay.
Tat.
So the first rule is it has to be made from 100% malted barley. It has to be distilled entirely at one distillery. It has to be mash distilled and matured in the United States at that one distillery. It's matured in oak cask of a capacity not exceeding 700 liters. It's distilled to no more than 160 going into the barrel.
Right. Doesn't mean it's coming out that.
And it has to be at least 40 proof.
40 ABV.
By volume, out the door. So what does all this mean?
What it means is America recognizes American Single Malt as a legitimate American spirit that requires regulation to ensure its quality and uniqueness.
Can you do that in English now?
What it means is that it takes the recognition of what people have been doing for years in trying to create a American Single Malt whiskey, and it protects it and clarifies what its parameters are so that it can't be, let's say, smushed.
Smoosh 'em up.
Smoosh?
Back in the 1800s, when whiskey was being produced and people were putting like tobacco juice and shit
Yeah.
in bottles.
Earl's shiny spit.
At some point, the US government decided this is how bourbon has to be made. You don't deter from this.
Yeah.
Now they finally have decided this whiskey, American Single Malt, deserves the same recognition. Which also means that just like single malt, Irish single malt made in Ireland,
Well, it has its
Scotch
own...
in Scotland made a single malt in
Yeah.
Scotland, Japanese single malt in Japan. This is American single malt.
It has its own niche in the market.
And it also says to
Yeah,
the
for
global
sure.
marketplace, hey, this is a real deal. It's not like just some made up thing that we're putting out there. Now they're wanting to compete on a global scale.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
This also means that is this gonna be easy? Is this like this new thing mean that okay, now that we're an official thing, we've got it made, right?
No, what it does mean is that there's going to be only a select few that are going to have the resources to do this.
I think we could look at it this way. Competition alone is gonna be a hard marketplace for this.
Sure.
Because there's tons of single malt out there and very large, old, established brands. There's tons of Irish single malts that have been around for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of Scottish single malts that have been around for centuries. There's even Japanese single malts that have been around for a long time now.
I mean, and then there's our country who's only been around for
250
centuries.
years, maybe.
I'm not old.
So it's gonna be tough because these producers are now competing on a global scale with
Yeah.
what they're considering a global whiskey.
That's right.
We're looking at this from the seat of our pants in the middle of America.
Well,
What these producers are hoping that this increases their viability
in all markets.
in the entire flat earth.
Yeah, in the entirety of it. From one side of the disc to the other.
The world she's around.
So the other problem is recognition. So a lot of these guys, right,
Yes.
are these small family-owned distilleries. I get that Jim Beam makes this one. It's not necessarily a small family.
It's the Beam family.
It's Centauri Beam. They have a lot of products and they make a lot of whiskeys. So that's not necessarily the case here.
Yeah, but right.
But no, a lot of burgeoning. Is that right?
I like it. Sounds good.
Burgeoning whiskey producers that make American Single Malt. They're small little craft whiskey makers, right?
Craft whiskey makers.
Which also means it's difficult for them to be seen. It's like when I went looking here this past week for some American Single Malt,
That's right.
there's not a ton on the shelf.
So the thing is that the question is, will we be seeing, like, when you walk into a place, is it, it'll be bourbon, rye, American Single Malt?
Well, it's not like that yet.
Yeah, but will we be seeing the little categorical signs?
I mean, we just recently talked about how we might see the end of the bourbon boom.
Yeah, sure.
This could be something, though, that could have its moment in the sun where, bourbon's kind of starting to
Yeah.
lose some of its hipness. But there was a time people loved rye
Oh, sure.
more than bourbon.
Yeah, that was like the 40s, man. It was started big time then.
So there's a chance that one day maybe people would love American Single Malt more than Scotch.
Scotch is a drink. Scots are a people. But we're both quite tasty.
Wow. Did I just say like a dirty word to every Scottish person?
Yeah, that's right. But who knows? It's fun to have something that's going to be a legitimate, item on the market to see where it competes. And if
Yeah.
it can't make it, hey, it's on, shall we
Hey.
say us?
If Laverne and Shirley can make it, Okay, so maybe some of our viewers are new to the American Single Malt
World.
So
Yeah.
what would be some American Single Malts we would recommend you jump in on? Because we haven't reviewed Clermont Steep yet,
No, we have not. But
so I can't recommend that.
But we've reviewed
The
Stranahan's.
Stranahan's, the cast strength.
It's a cast strength, yeah.
What, the regular one's good too, but the cast strength,
Yeah.
deer, that
It's,
one,
it's really good.
that's like a religious moment.
Yeah, it's really good,
Kings County,
which is my favorite.
American Single Malt, they make an incredibly tasty crafted,
Well, yeah, it's great.
American
It's
Single Malt.
fantastic.
and that's
Yeah.
not the only thing they make there.
No, of course. They've got a rye. They've got their regular standard bourbons. They've got, other things.
Westland County, they make an incredible American Single Malt. It's a little hard to find sometimes, but it's incredible.
So we know that there are already makers out there.
Yeah, and we've reviewed a few over the
Yeah.
years, even before this became a thing, before it became official. Official.
Yeah.
I put air quotes, but it's actually really official.
Yeah, it's official.
Okay, so regardless, this is a huge deal.
Yeah.
I mean, the American Single Malt category being added into the United States as an official American whiskey, its brother Bourbon and them are like
Well,
side by side now.
well, right. As far as the law is concerned.
Do you think we're going to see some, because of this recognition, do you think we're going to see some increased quality of American Single Malt? Do you think we're going to see more craft breweries jumping out, craft distilleries jumping out
Yeah.
to make, American Single
Yeah.
Malt? Do you think this is going to encourage new people to break out? I know we've talked about even recently that maybe Whiskey Pop might be interested in,
Yeah, maybe.
oh, what? Did we say something?
I don't
We didn't say
know.
nothing, did we? We didn't say nothing.
I don't know.
We didn't say nothing.
But the whole thing is, I agree that there's either is going to have people jumping in and going full force with it, or it'll
Yeah.
just dry up.
Well, here's a good,
That'll be the only way it'll work.
here's
so
a good indication.
I'm ready for it.
Who makes this?
Yeah, Jim Beam.
Jim Beam.
Yeah.
So if Jim Beam thinks, hey, we need to get into this market.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Okay, so what about you? Have you had American Single Malt? Do you feel like these regulations have changed your mind, how you feel about it? Or are you kind of single malt curious?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I would just recommend try some.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what I would say?
What's
Go
that?
buy an Irish single malt, a good Scotch single malt, and an American single malt and start doing some comparisons.
Well, clearly there'll be.
Why are we doing that?
That's a great idea.
We need to do that. Don't take that idea from us. We'll do that again here soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't be going anywhere for the rest of the day after that. But
So in the meantime,
be sure to like, share, and
subscribe, and don't forget we have a dong to be dinged.
that thing down there just went dong. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to be able to provide you some more curated video content, and click on that. We'll let us do that.
Plus, it also lets you know when new content's coming up
That's right.
and when new great episodes, like when we review this Clermont Steep American Single Malt Whiskey, malted barley, orchestrated by the Fred Noah of Jim Beam.
It's gonna be awesome, and we're gonna do that next week. So
In the meantime, you guys continue to be geeky, and we'll see you next week.
cheers.
Cheers.